Well, joining me now is Brian Monteith, occasional, if not regular, commentator on Scottish politics. Brian, thanks for joining us. We talked about this last week, actually, the bin strike. Other people are striking, but the bin strike in particular in Glasgow. It seems that Councillor Aitken thinks that the roots of that go deep and back a long way.
Well, the hypocrisy is rank because the roots go back far further than Susan Aitken would like to admit. The truth is that the era of Thatcher, of Margaret Thatcher, was ushered in by the SNP. And she obviously would like to forget that. But in 1979, it was the SNP who moved to make a motion of no confidence in the Labour government because they wanted rid of Labour. And Margaret Thatcher then moved her own motion. The SNP was duty-bound to support it. And the Labour government lost by one vote. It was the SNP who delivered Margaret Thatcher's election chance and election victory. And so if we want to be historical about it, it really is Susan Aitken's party that ushered in Thatcherism. And if she is upset about that, she really is in the wrong party.
She's been criticised for being delusional. I mean, it has to be said, doesn't it, Brian? You will get people who still are reflexively anti-Thatcher. She has the ability, even so many years after her death, to make people start frothing. And it's difficult to see here. I mean, it's one thing to say, OK, industrial decline, shipbuilding, heavy industry, that sort of thing, but rat infestation. I mean, how do you trace that back?
Well, there is no way to trace it back. Of course, it's to change the narrative, which is part of the political process SNP wants to embrace and create. The truth is that from, for instance, 1980, Thatcher government was pouring money into Glasgow for East End regeneration. The very conference centre that COP26 is being held in was receiving money from Thatcher's government in 1985 to be built. The Garden Festival in 1988, more money from Thatcher's government. The City of Culture in Glasgow in 1990, more money from Thatcher's government. The truth is that Glasgow was just unfortunate. It had so much heavy industry and it needed help, a lot of help. And Thatcher's UK government came to Glasgow's aid. It's an argument that maybe not enough, but it certainly did not walk away or neglect Glasgow. It supported Glasgow.
It was interesting looking at some of the commentary on Twitter on this, Brian. That a lot of people making the point that it can appear sometimes that the SNP, maybe more than some other political parties, not idea to answer this charge, but feel they need panto villains to distract attention away from sometimes their own failings, because they have been in charge for quite a while now.
Well, they have been in charge for 14 years. And of course, one of the things that I think I've mentioned to you before is that what they have done is they've centralised government. They've taken money away from local authorities. Susan Aitken, being an elected member of the SNP, is actually not allowed to criticise other elected members. In other words, she's not allowed to criticise Nicola Sturgeon, who is, of course, a Glasgow MSP as well as First Minister. Or she might receive summary action, disciplinary action from her party. So we have a situation where the SNP punishes Glasgow by stopping it having the money it needs, but the elected SNP members cannot complain about being deprived of that funding. It's actually an SNP problem that Scotland's suffering from, not a Thatcher problem.